Is it possible to implant the success traits of a self made millionaire into your subconscious mind so that you'll think and act like a self made millionaire and operate your life on autopilot to create more success and wealth? Hi, I'm Dane Spots. In the following workshop, you're going to be experiencing a new mind technology that will open a window into your subconscious autopilot to create a winning self image and operate your life with a new energy to achieve your financial success goals, whether you're in a business now or working at a profession or moving up the corporate ladder. Before I get into the workshop program, don't forget to download the Zygon Mind Power app, which has the complete Millionaire's Mind system, along with hundreds of mind technology programs that will help you unleash your millionaire's mind. Take two people of equal intelligence and upbringing. One of them starts a business, works hard, and becomes wealthy, has a great life, and lives the dream. The other works for a major corporation, makes a good living, but hates his job, feels pushed around, is angry at life, and disappointed that they never really did the things they wanted to do. What's the difference between these two individuals? One of them has something, the other doesn't. Doesn't matter what you do for a living, whether you start a business, work in a profession, or for a company, or that you're a working person in a trade. What matters is how you feel about what you do, what your life is about, that you thrive and have meaning and purpose. Having money in the bank and creating something of value is great, but what matters most at the end of your life is, were you happy? Did you lead a fulfilled life where you became your full potential? The difference between success and failure isn't what you start out with, it's what you end up with in the journey of the quest. We're going to get into all of that and what that means in just a minute. Right now, the question is, all things being equal, what separates the highly successful person from the mediocre? Well, I'll just cut to the chase and give you the answer. It's their inner mind, their subconscious autopilot that steers their life toward failure or success. How we see ourselves, our inner programming, has everything to do with the external reality that we experience. And if you see yourself with a winning self-image and you feel that energy welling up within you, you operate with a superior edge in life. I'm talking about a confidence that comes with a sense of mission and purpose, and that gives you a magnetic personality. This is one of the keys to success. On top of that, there are success traits that embody the mindset of people who appear to automatically gravitate towards success. You know, because you've seen them. That self-made person that achieves greatness in both success and wealth in whatever undertaking they take on. What are those success traits? What is it about their mind and how they're wired that allows them to achieve greatness and wealth and success no matter what they're undertaking? Well, let's drill down on what makes a self-made successful person and what you may be missing. You've heard the idea that success leaves clues, breadcrumbs you can follow. This has been studied by people like Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, and many others. Many books have been written on the topic because people are interested in this. What do these breadcrumbs say about these highly effective and successful people? Do they share common traits and a philosophy for living that can be emulated? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. But I should tell you, everyone is different. Different in the way they think and operate their lives, different in their creative approach to solving problems, different in the way they achieve their goals. This is good. And it's this diversity and innovation that leads them to becoming disruptors and innovators in their chosen field. And they stand out from the rest to achieve something incredible. But there are common traits that they all share. And that's the point of the Millionaire's Mind system. To know what those are, and be able to rewire your inner mind to embrace them. So when we look at these people, and I've studied them as well as become one of them, I noticed 21 traits they all possess, despite the fact they're all very different people with different backgrounds, motivations, and success stories. I'm going to list those 21 traits for you now, and we'll dissect and discuss them and zero in on the ones you must have to become a success. Now, some people are weaker or stronger in some of these, and a lot of people who start out broke without any resources or even have a great toolbox of success traits still manage to acquire them as they build their life. How? How is that possible? They transform themselves by learning and growing. It starts first with a realization of what they lack and a desire to change. Then, like how any successful thing works, it builds on itself. It keeps growing and growing, becomes self-reinforcing, and future endeavors get bigger and more successful. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So let's take that first step now with a personal inventory. Let's relook at those success traits, and I want you to grade yourself on each one of them. Create a scoring system. Just take a blank sheet of paper, and as they flash on the screen, I want you to write down a number from 1 to 5 for each trait, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, for how you think you rank on each of these. Be honest with yourself. Remember, in Module 4, I'm going to show you how to get the resources you need to make all this work. So let's begin.
Here are the 21 success traits of a self-made millionaire. Dream big dreams. Develop a clear sense of direction. See yourself as self-employed. Do what you love. Commit to excellence. Work longer and harder. Dedicate yourself to lifelong learning. Pay yourself first. Learn every detail of the business. Dedicate yourself to serving others. Be absolutely honest with yourself and others. Set priorities and concentrate single-mindedly. Develop a reputation for speed and dependability. Be prepared to climb from peak to peak. Practice self-discipline in all things. Unlock your innate creativity. Be around the right people. Take excellent care of your physical health. Be decisive and action-oriented. Never see failure as failure. And be persistent. You deserve success. Go for it.
Now let's set that aside and we'll address what it means later in Module 4. If you're a 5 on all the traits, well, you probably don't need the Millionaire's Mind success system because you're already there. But if you do, let's proceed. Of these success traits, there are 5 key aspects I want to point out and spend some time with each that are the core to getting your success machine rolling. They are as follows. 1, a winning self-image. 2, how you see and deal with failure. 3, your inner mind programming and how you see money. 4, your bias for action versus procrastinating or being a perfectionist, which is a form of procrastination. 5, your willingness to do what others won't do to achieve a goal. Those are the golden 5, as I call them. If you have a self-realization about just these 5 areas and work on them every day, the rest will fall into place. This is my guarantee. Now, is any of this easy to do? No, it's not. But it's the entire ball game. So if you scored low on any of these areas when you did your 21 success traits inventory, this is where we need to put in the work. And it's not an instant thing. In Module 3, we're going to be doing an exercise in mind scripting to rewire your inner mind programming, and most of it will deal with these 5 aspects. If you score high on all 5, the rest is going to fall into place. You'll get the resources you need, the creative people, the connections, the capital, whatever it is you don't have, you're going to get it. Okay, we've done our personal inventory. We understand the objective of installing a millionaire's mind into our subconscious autopilot, and we're able to address the 5 golden traits. There's one last thing we need to talk about before we jump into Module 2, which involves creating a plan and putting it in writing. And that is fear. Fear is the mind killer, the little death, as Frank Herbert so aptly put it in his epic novel and movie Dune. And indeed it is. So this is something that you have to deal with daily. Everyone does, especially if you're sailing your boat into uncharted waters. Fear of the unknown is always our greatest fear. Let me tell you a quick story about fear. Perhaps you've heard it. It's called The Black Door, and it goes something like this. There once was a criminal who was sent to prison for committing a crime. The commander of the prison was going to punish the criminal and gave him 2 choices. Face the firing squad, or at the end of the hallway, there was a black door, and the criminal could choose to enter that. The big, black, scary door, and accept whatever was behind it. This was a no-brainer for the criminal. He chose the firing squad. As he was being led out to his death, the criminal asked the prison commander, "I'm curious, what's behind the black door?" "Funny you ask," said the commander. "Everyone picks the firing squad and then asks what's behind the door." "So what's there?" asked the criminal. "Freedom," answered the commander as he put the blindfold on the criminal and ordered his men to fire. The moral of the story is the safest option, or the one we think is the safest option, isn't always the best choice. Fear of the unknown takes over our rational thinking. We look at our future, evaluate our choices, and our minds come up with images and ideas that are usually not positive because we rely on our prior experiences. And when facing death by a firing squad, surely the black door must be worse. The point is, we tend to choose things which are safest based on what is known. The millionaire's mind doesn't think this way. It's programmed to see opportunities others don't see, and is programmed with a positive self-expectancy that when faced with unknowns, it will make the necessary adjustments to maneuver through it. This is the key difference between a millionaire's mind and an ordinary mind. We all experience fear, and starting something new that we could possibly fail at causes anxiety and fear because the outcome is unknown. So we create excuses for not taking action. I'm sure you've heard this kind of self-talk. I just need to be better prepared. I need to look better and lose weight. I need to, blah, 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 before I can begin, and so on. Procrastination or tangential behavior is very common. Doing everything except what you should be doing, because you may not admit this to yourself, but you're frozen by fear. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Salespeople have this problem a lot. They may be too intimidated to pick up the phone and make a cold call. So instead, they spend hours doing paperwork or researching on the computer or taking unrelated calls to avoid doing that thing they fear. Well, here's how to fix that. And at first, you're going to be afraid, but if you do this little trick I'm going to show you now, it will condition yourself over time never to be afraid again. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I want you to do this simple thing. And it may seem so silly and simple, you'll say to yourself, I don't need to do this. I'm telling you to do it. It changed everything for me, and it can for you. If you have a desk at home, maybe you use a laptop computer daily when you get up and start your day, or if it's your smartphone, whatever it is, let's call that device your personal desktop. It's what you use to interact with the world. Now, here's what I want you to do every night before you go to bed. Write down the three most important things you have to do tomorrow. It can be on a post it note if you like. I happen to use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I fold it in half and put the folded part over my laptop screen so it's staring at me. I can't start my day until I see it. Every morning, then, I see those three things written there right in front of me. And here's the rule of this trick: you must do those three things first before you go online and check the news, your social media pages, etc. Our minds are so distracted these days. It's very easy to eat up 2 or 3 hours in the morning getting caught up in answering emails and posts. And by then, it's already noon before you really start your day. Okay, so you knock off those three things, and your reward is you get to surf your social media account or answer email or do what's on your B list of things and projects. If you just do this one simple tip, it will not only revolutionize your time management issues, but it will address the big boogeyman we're talking about: fear. This way, you don't have a mental excuse to procrastinate, like answering emails or researching online, which is the greatest excuse there is today. One last thing about fear before I move on. Just because you're staring at those three maybe scary things to do on your list, how does that bust your fear or indecision, which is fear's cousin? Like I said earlier, it's about conditioning your mind to do the things that scare you or that you feel inadequate or unprepared to do, but you do them anyway. Small steps at first. But once you start this process, you'll quickly realize there was never anything to fear anyway. So the conditioning process begins, and you tackle tougher and more different and difficult fear based things until you wonder what you were ever anxious about to begin with. Listen, you'll never be fully prepared in the way you want to be. You have to let go of that and just go for it. You actually know more about your subject than you realize. So just stay in motion. Even flubbing a few times out of the gate is better than wasting time thinking about it. Remember our 5 key aspects of all successful people? One of the most important key traits is a bias for action. And it simply means to take action. Doesn't matter if you're not fully prepared. Make the call, make the visit, ask for what you want. Do it. There is genius in boldness, and it will eventually erase any fears and condition you to not procrastinate or be tangential. We've discussed the success traits of a millionaire's mind. You've done your own personal inventory, so you know where you stand. You also know what needs to be rewired and understand that you have to break through any fears that you may have about taking action on your goals. In Module 2, we're going to take this much further and create a plan of action and talk about exactly how you're going to achieve that plan by rewiring your inner mind to make it a reality. In this module on creating your millionaire's mind plan and success strategy, we're going to take things further and create an action plan. And I'm going to show you how to actualize it in a way you may not have ever heard before. We're going to commit the plan to writing and kickstart the process of your inner mind, your subconscious autopilot, steering you toward making it so. Before we do all that, I have a question I want to ask you. What do you want out of life? Can you answer that immediately and with specifics? It's important that you know this and can state it in a sentence or two without even thinking. If you can't do that right now, don't worry. At the end of this workshop, you're going to be able to. You know, I've owned a number of companies in my career, and I've hired thousands of employees over the last 40 years. When I interview people for a job, usually about the third or fourth question after the initial pleasantries, I ask them this: what do you want out of life? Most think it's a trick question and they stage their answer around the job opportunity that they're applying for. Let's say I was hiring for a customer support manager. They might hem and haw for a bit and say, well, I want to be the best customer service manager and serve customers in a business like yours. It's of course not true. And then I say something like, no, 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 forget about this job interview. What do you want? And guess what happens next? A blank stare on about 80% of them. They honestly don't really know what they want. Right now, they just need a job to pay the bills. And that isn't what they really want. So I ask you right now, what is it that you really want? Pause this program if you need to and think about it for a minute. It's actually really important. Why? What does this have to do with programming a millionaire's mind? Well, everything. How can you expect to create a life of abundance and success and leverage the law of attraction that the universe will automatically help you with if you don't even know what it is that you want? I'm sure you've read books on goal setting and how important that is, but this precedes even that. It's more basal. Knowing what you want is core to how you'll operate your life, so it's worth thinking about and committing to in writing. I did a workshop a number of years ago called How to Find Your Mission in Life, which talks more about this idea and gives you a specific process for finding out what that is. I encourage you to watch that and to get into the nuance about all of this. The idea of that workshop is basically this. You're trained to create an operating principle around which you'll organize your life that's based on what you like to do, your passions and skills. Once you know what that is and you commit to it, it automatically sets up powerful unseen forces that will be like guiding hands and help to nudge you along that specific trajectory and getting you what you need to make it happen. It's like the Red Sea parts when you need it to. I personally use this exercise in How to Find Your Mission in Life to set up all the conditions for my own life that I'm now living, and it covers things I've accomplished over the last 45 years. My path, like I'm sure yours will be, had a number of speed bumps along the way. But my personal mission, or life quest as I like to call it, has never really changed. I'm still on it today, talking to you right now. This is who I am. It's my work and my passion. And so to me, on a deep level, it's not really work at all. I would do it for free, and I certainly have. Whether I get paid or not, it doesn't really matter. This is who I am. We're going to get into the entire money thing and problems with chasing the buck, as I call it, later on. For now, the message is knowing who you are. What special skills, curiosities, and desires you bring to the table of life. This is important stuff. Each of us is unique, so what you want, what you will become, is very different than anyone else. You really can't compare yourself to anyone else. You're unique in all the universe. There's never been anyone like you, and there never will be. Think about that. It's your magnificence and brilliance, your unique potential that we want to bring out and share with the world. But that's not to say you might get clues from the people you admire and those who have mentored you in life. We all have people we admire and look up to, and it's useful to study them and find the things about them that you would like to emulate. But you are still you. So, what is that one thing that you're all about that makes you special? You know, a funny movie came out many years ago called City Slickers that illustrated this idea. The character played by Billy Crystal was having a midlife crisis. So on his 40th birthday, he and his buddies went on a 2-week cattle drive to soul search and find themselves and their purpose in life. And in the end, he returns home to his wife and she asks him if he found what he was looking for. And he says yes, that he did. It's not a lot of different things, he says. It's that one thing. The one thing that gives his life the most meaning and purpose, and to throw himself completely into it, that was his answer. In his case, it was his family. It doesn't matter what that one thing is. It does matter that you find it, because when you do, everything changes. If you get nothing else out of this workshop except knowing what that one thing is, that's what I want for you. Conviction, purpose, a daily sense of meaning, and goals that you're working toward that give you that drive to keep going no matter how hard life gets or what curveballs you have thrown at you, because you will. But it doesn't matter because you're operating at a new level with a core value system of who you are, what you are offering to the world, and it's committed to in writing and etched onto your soul. And guess what happens when you do that? It manifests itself like magic. I mean, how can it not? You're now your future self in an embryonic form and becoming your potential. It's no longer ambiguous. You've created the blueprint. You know what that one thing is. So the universe and all that creative energy, an unimaginable force of potential, lines up behind you to make it so. It's like unseen hands are guiding you every step of the way. So, how do you go about doing this? Well, the details are in that recorded seminar I did, How to Find Your Mission in Life. So, I invite you to download it. It's free to anyone who wants it. But the core of it and the work you must do with yourself is knowing who you are and what you want. So, let's start with that. Write it down. It will change over the years, but you're starting now today and giving focus and permission to your subconscious autopilot to create this reality. So be as specific as you can. If you're staring at a blank piece of paper and have no clue, you might start out with what you don't want. You certainly know what that is. Write it all down, then cross it out. It will stimulate your thinking. This exercise is not something you do in one sitting. It might take you weeks or more, but get started and do it now. Let me give you a start with an example of someone I know. Joe is in his early 30s, went to college, but never really had an affinity to anything in particular. He was just following what he thought he was supposed to do. He got his BS in business administration, and when he got out of college, took a job in banking and is now a branch manager at a local bank. He's doing okay, relatively happy, but it's not what he wants his life to be about. Doing that 9 to 5 banker hours thing. Looking forward to weekends when he can hop into the car and take a road trip. After doing the How to Find Your Mission in Life exercise, here's what he wrote down for what he really wants and what he sees himself doing, and more importantly, being. I'm a writer. I'm a traveler. I seek adventure in foreign lands. I see myself as an Anthony Bourdain without the food aspect, interviewing people in different cultures, understanding how they see life, and sharing my insights and adventures with the world. I have become a professional travel writer and photojournalist. I earn at least $250,000 a year. I live a nomadic, free lifestyle and publish my own travel blog with 1 million visitors a year. I'm getting my pilot's license so I can venture off into the bush when I'm in exotic places like Africa. I own a condominium in Hawaii overlooking the ocean. I use this place as my base of operations when I'm not traveling doing stories. I rent it out when I'm away. My ideal mate is someone who shares my core values, loves traveling like I do, and together we explore the world writing and making documentary movies about exotic places and our travel adventures together. There you go. It might take a few years to get fully off the ground, but he's in motion. Based on what he wrote, what do you think his chances are of making this dream a success? 50%? 80%? How about 100%? That's what I think. As long as he has the passion and follows the 5 key aspects and removes all fear from his mind that such a thing is possible, he's going to make this happen. He may have to do some preparatory things to make it all work, like take odd jobs along the way or learn skills that he may not now have, but I guarantee you he's going to make it. A great life, right? Can you almost see yourself in Joe's shoes, living a life of adventure? I certainly can. I'll definitely be reading his blog. Now, maybe that's not you. Perhaps you have a family and want to start a home-based business so you can be close to your children. What might that look like for you? Maybe you love making or building things. Can you create a business around that? Are you getting this? It's not complicated to do this exercise, but it can be difficult to realize into reality if you don't have your millionaire's mind conditioning in place. So, what do you want? Well, write down your goals and your operating principle with as much detail as possible. Then read it every day. And make sure you don't fall into the chasing the buck trap. What is chasing the buck? Well, that's where it's all about money. Money is and should really be just a symptom of success. It's not your ultimate destination. If that's what you think this is about, you're missing something really important. I can't tell you how many rich people I know who are miserable because they have no meaning or purpose in their life. Creating wealth is a good thing, but it's not the end goal. The end goal is happiness and personal fulfillment, and having wealth and being comfortable in your life is just a part of that. It's wonderful and you deserve it and you should have it, but don't waste this powerful tool on just that. You've heard the phrase, follow your passions, the money will come. Sounds trite, but it's true. Money can solve problems, but it can also create a lot more. It's better by far to organize your life around something you would do for no compensation, and then let the money follow. Trust me, you'll save years of suffering if you do just this simple thing. Okay, now you have a general plan and operating principle. I'm going to say this again from Module 1. Having a plan is great, but it's all about executing it, having a bias for action. And that's the key principle all millionaires' minds share. So, how do you make sure that your inner mind programming is set up right to create all that abundance and make your dreams a reality? We're going to cover that in this next part and how to rewire your inner mind using the Millionaire's Mind success tools. How we think about ourselves has everything to do with the reality we create. You're about to discover an amazingly powerful set of mind scripting tools that will allow you to reprogram core beliefs about money and success. In this next module, I'm going to take you through an actual Millionaire's Mind success conditioning session so you can feel what it's like, and then we're going to review all the tools in your inner mind programming tool set. Your inner mind programming and how you see yourself is in direct correlation to how your success plans will unfold. This is the core of how the Millionaire's Mind Neuromapping success conditioning system works. It's about mind scripting a new mind so that you can see a new world and actualize your potential to create whatever it is you want. Imprinting a set of success beliefs about yourself that will change everything around you almost like magic. You may or may not believe that right now, which is okay, because if you do the work, it will happen anyway. Remember in Module 1, we talked about reprogramming the 5 key aspects about how your inner mind is wired around success and money? Here they are again. 1, a winning self-image. 2, how you see and deal with failure. 3, how you see money. 4, a bias for action. And 5, a willingness to do what others won't do. We're going to do that work now, and I'll show you how to reprogram these 5 key aspects, especially how you see yourself and money. Why is that one so important? Because if you were conditioned all of your life to think you're undeserving of money and success, this is the number one barrier to you achieving it. Money is evil. Rich people steal from the poor. I'm not worthy of being a millionaire. All that nonsense. If it's part of your inner mind programming, that has to be rescripted so that your subconscious autopilot sees money not as evil or unattainable, but as a tool and something that you have abundance of to accomplish your goals. The Millionaire's Mind system I developed 2 decades ago uses sound frequencies and a process we call neuromapping to install new thinking into your inner mind. Here's a quick thumbnail sketch of how it works. Have you ever heard a song, something that makes you smile every time you hear it? You know the song, the one that's linked in your mind with positive memories from your past, like your high school prom or the first time you fell in love. The event doesn't really matter, just how you felt about it. Now, every time you hear that tune, no matter what your current mood is, it instantly transports you back in time as you relive those positive memories and emotions and feel the empowerment well up inside you. Perhaps you listen to these songs when you want to feel better or get motivation while you're working. If you've ever experienced those power feelings from music, you know what it is I'm talking about. That's the underlying premise of the Millionaire's Mind neuromapping process. What it's doing is linking positive emotions with sound frequencies and music to create and link positively charged emotions with specific success actions and behaviors. And then using affirmations, which are layered within this matrix, to have them stick in your subconscious mind and trigger success actions. There are 6 titles in the series, with 12 tracks overall. The first track is a programming tool. It's called the Programmer. You'll use headphones and do a 20 to 30 minute meditation with it. The sound forms will alter consciousness and play specific tones in a musical format that opens a specific state of mind with the right attitudes and emotions, along with affirmational programming that we want to establish. The second track, the Activator, is played whenever you want, while you work or go about your day, and is used to activate those winning feelings and trigger deeply felt positive emotions, like your favorite song would. The object of this is to stimulate your millionaire's mind into action. This is extremely powerful stuff, and over time, this programming replaces your current negative mind scripts about how you see yourself and then how the world sees you. Because once you've programmed your personal winning feelings and link them to the musical cues in the program, you can activate your millionaire's mind whenever you need to project a winning image, self-confidence, and personal power. Okay, I could go on and on about music theory and the science behind mind scripting, but it would just bore you. It's better to just experience it firsthand so you can see what I'm talking about. So that's what we're going to do. In this next session, I'm going to play a few minutes of a programmer soundtrack that you can listen to. And then after that, I'll play a few minutes of an activator track so you can get a sense of what this is all about. When the demo is done, we'll talk more about what this does and how, through regular use, it can implant those winning feelings and trigger positive memories and emotions that will stimulate success behavior. Let's begin then with the programmer track for attracting wealth and prosperity. You'll need headphones for this session as the sounds are spatially delivered using the stereophonic process, and it just doesn't work without them. If you don't have headphones and you just want to listen anyway, just know that you're not really getting a real demo. Okay, I'll assume you found a nice pair of stereo headphones. Ear covered is best. Let's cue up your session now. Before we push play, take a few deep breaths, put on your stereo headphones, and go into your memory for a moment and find an experience in your past where you were totally on. A moment when everything was perfect. Perhaps the time you won the high school football championship, or you closed an impossible deal and got a windfall commission, or when you were first in love. Any positive moment you can remember with vivid detail and experienced in real life that would raise those winning feelings. Think about those moments now. Recall them with as much detail and color as possible. Raise the winning feelings in your mind. Now relax and let the soundtrack do its magic. And you are back. A very short session. Normally, it will take about that long to just bring you fully into an alpha theta state where your consciousness is fully primed for mind scripting. But I wanted to give you a sense of how even a light version might feel. So, for this next part now, the activator, you won't need headphones. You can play these tracks whenever you can, and it will activate those winning feelings that were programmed in. We'll only do a minute or two of this so you can just see how it sounds. Normally, you would have your activator playing in the background when you're getting ready for work or while you're in the office or preparing for a meeting. Let's cue up your activator demo now. There you go. Assuming you're doing this process daily, you're priming your inner mind to produce the right mindset and circumstances to make your future plans a reality. Let's take a moment and go over what's behind all this. A breakthrough technology has been employed in creating these soundtracks called neuromapping. Light years ahead of other personal development techniques, here's a brief discussion of the concept. The Millionaire's Mind system uses an incredibly complex audio matrix. The programmer stimulates the appropriate mind state and then maps new memories and beliefs about success and wealth. The Activator Track acts as a triggering tool to activate these new attitudes and bring about the appropriate high achievement behavior. What's actually happening inside your brain? The psychological model for the neuromapping process is based on the principle of associative learning. Like Pavlov's dog, who learned to salivate at the ring of a bell, specific success traits and beliefs are linked to a specific musical pattern on these soundtracks. The success affirmations are so intrinsically connected to certain tones and frequencies that after repetition, whenever your brain hears this musical matrix, it will automatically bring forth to your subconscious mind the positive affirmation that was played with it. Imagine just before a meeting, you decide you need a shot of confidence to motivate you to make a power presentation. Just plug in your Millionaire's Mind Activator Track, and you can recreate those winning feelings and project the power and confidence you need to make it happen. The feelings have been mapped into your subconscious and are ready to be activated, triggered by the special musical formula. When using your programmer track, it requires you to plug in using stereo headphones for an uninterrupted half an hour. As your mind becomes deeply relaxed by the sound matrix, your brain slows down and you feel deeply relaxed. The deep relaxation and altered mind state has many side benefits, such as removing stress and expanding awareness. But the primary purpose for all of this is to prep your brain to produce the appropriate mental state for neuromapping. Think of it as a timeout from life, a mini mind vacation. The Activator Track is your triggering and reinforcement tool. When you play this soundtrack on your way to work, before making a sales call or presentation, you're in essence triggering a conditioned response which has been neuromapped from the programmer. Linked in your memory are the positive emotions and success affirmations that were mapped into your subconscious from your programmer sessions. This track uses a musical matrix derived from the programmer soundtrack, which is designed to trigger those winning feelings and evoke the success affirmations. Listen, it's all about the inner images and the self-talk that we create. This is part of mind scripting. The positive feedback you receive from the outer world reinforces these inner images, and the whole pattern of positive behavior repeats itself over and over again. Thus, the axiom, success breeds success. The shifts you'll notice in your life are subtle and cumulative over a period of time. Often, as positive experiences begin happening, you can't be sure if it's something you caused or merely a coincidence. Let me tell you this now. You created all of it. There are no coincidences. What becomes so incredibly empowering about this process is the recognition of the invisible link between what you think of yourself and your outward experiences. You'll begin to see the immense power you possess to shape the events around you by simply changing your perception of reality. The users of this technology who fail to see this bigger picture are missing out on the greatest benefit of all. The secret for getting quick and positive results with this system is just to use it on a regular and consistent basis. There's no recommended schedule. Use your own best judgment. Pick 1 or 2 titles to work with on a consistent basis. You can rotate these titles if you wish for your meditations. It's best not to play the programmer track more than once a day. Using it more often will not necessarily speed your results. However, listening to the Activator Track, do it as often as you wish. The more reinforcement, the better. This is all very powerful stuff. It will make a huge impact on how you think and see yourself, and how the world will see you. I encourage you to give it a try for at least a month. 90 days will be better. Now, that's the Millionaire's Mind Neuromapping system. You're now on your way toward creating a new mind. So, how do you get the resources you need to make that plan a reality? Well, that's next. The goal of this workshop was to introduce you to the Millionaire's Mind concept and give you the tools to implant the success traits that will program your inner mind to achieve anything you want in life. You've created a list of goals, have an operating principle that you want to organize your life around, at least for the next few years. You've experienced the Millionaire's Mind success conditioning system using the neuromapping technology, which you're going to use to implant those success traits and begin working your plan. Having a new Millionaire's Mind allows you to operate with confidence in a winning self-image that makes people want to do business with you and gives you the motivation to do what others won't do to become a success. All the elements are now falling into place. So how do you make all this happen and get the resources you need? That's what we're going to cover in this module and give you a secret kickstart method for launching your new life. First, assemble all your components and give yourself a working schedule for doing this. Let's say the next 90 days. Over the next 90 days, you'll be doing your daily Millionaire's Mind session, working on writing your plan. Set that as your first goal. To track your progress, you'll be doing the journaling exercises outlined in the Millionaire's Mind workbook. Why is journaling so important to your process? A number of reasons. The first is change is subtle. It's cumulative over time. You may not be able to see or feel the differences in how you think or act on a day-to-day basis, but you will over 90 days. Keeping a journal or a diary of your daily experiences will help you see this progression. It's kind of like exercise. You go to the gym, you work out, and over time you see the difference in your body development. Well, mind development is no different, but the changes are even more subtle. Also, another important point of journaling is it will stimulate insights and problem-solving ideas that will flow into your mind after doing a Millionaire's Mind session. It's designed to stimulate creativity, and you want to capture that. Okay, let's go over the components again and make certain that you have everything together. First, you're going to review the 21 success traits and see the areas that you need to work on. 2, you're going to watch the How to Find Your Mission in Life workshop and put together your own operating principle around which you'll organize your life. You will commit this plan to writing. Also, if you really want to make this happen fast, you can use the visioneering tool by plugging into the visioneering workshop. It's on another video called Create Abundance. It will teach you a simple 5-minute visioneering technique that will unleash your mind power using the law of attraction. I highly recommend it. All of these things together are synergistic and will work together to make all of this happen. And then 3, your main tool, which is the Millionaire's Mind Success Conditioning System, which you'll start using to program your inner mind to be able to do what you really want to do, which is make all this happen. And 4, keep a journal writing down your thoughts and your feelings immediately following a Millionaire's Mind session. Does all of this sound like a lot to do? Well, it's not really. It just seems like a lot now because you're not in the habit of doing it. We're talking about a half an hour to 45 minutes a day commitment that will transform the rest of your life. Can you do that? Do it before you go to sleep each night or first thing in the morning, or better yet, instead of watching TV every night, do your Millionaire's Mind work instead. You're investing in yourself. Listen, no one can make you do this. You have to want to do it. And I should comment here about something important. Remember in Module 1, we talked about fear and procrastination? Well, there's an insidious side to that, and it's this. The old you may do everything possible to sabotage this transformation process. I want you to realize this right now. I'm sure you've experienced self-sabotaging behavior before. Even though we want to get out of our rut and improve our lives, the old you, the mind scripts that have been programmed into you since you were a child, telling you that you'd never amount to anything, reminding you of failure each time something bad happened, those mind scripts will try and pull you down. Being in a rut and hearing those scripts over and over is what you're used to. Now all of a sudden, you've introduced new mind scripting that wants to change all of that. And it may cause initial emotional upset as the old you rejects this new mind and new thinking. Journaling should help you work through this process because it gives you an anchor of self-realization that your mind is just trying to trick you into giving up. Don't fall for it. Keep moving forward, and eventually you'll replace those old, negative, crusty mind scripts. And when you do, you'll feel great. It's like God suddenly turned on a light switch and everything becomes crystal clear and more in focus. In fact, you may wonder where the real you has been all these years, buried under that muck of negative self-talk and thinking, which only reinforced your failures. And speaking of failure, remember we talked about that as one of the key assessments in Module 1. Well, the goal of a Millionaire's Mind is to rescript how you see failure, because you will fail your way to success. It's inevitable. We use failure as a way to learn and to adjust our trajectory. Just like Thomas Edison said when he invented the light bulb and was asked by a reporter, "How does it feel to fail at something 10,000 times?" "Sir, I have not failed 10,000 times. Rather, I have successfully discovered 10,000 ways which do not work." Failure is the road to success. Edison understood that it's not the number of times you fail that matters. It's the number of times you succeed. And that depends on how many times you try. While most people fear failure, Thomas Edison and other successful people learned to love failing. They understand that failure is a part of the process to be successful at anything. How your inner mind sees failure and what you do with it is really the secret of most fortunes. Okay, that's an inventory of our mind tools and the process that you're going to follow. Once you start doing it and you stick with it, it all becomes a habit, which you want it to be. And it's not going to feel like work then, especially when your personal reality begins shifting and you witness all the success falling into your lap. What we're going to go over next is what else you need to do and be aware of while you're working on your inner mind and formulating your plan. This next one you might feel is not necessary, but actually it is, and it'll help you a lot to not feel so alone in your journey. And also it'll give you additional resources and help you actualize your plan. And that is to create a mastermind group. I'm sure you've heard of this idea before, but you may have never realized how important and helpful it will be to launch your ideas into reality. What is a mastermind group? These are people that you surround yourself with that will support you on your journey of success. Get rid of the people in your life that are the naysayers or don't believe in what you're doing or your dreams. They just weigh you down. And even though it may be hard to do, they need to go. Doesn't mean you don't still love them, but don't hang around with them or even discuss your plans with them. They're toxic to your higher mission and will only create self-doubt and cause you delays. Don't worry if there's no one left in your social life. There will be, as people are going to show up when you need them. So how do you go about this? Well, start with the people you know. They might be casual friends or people you encounter in your day-to-day life. When you strike up a conversation with them, you can tell if they're interested in you and your ideas. If you think there's a connection, ask them if they'd like to be a part of what you're doing. And if you can call them from time to bounce ideas off them. Most people are going to be flattered and say yes, and that's all there is to it. Get together for coffee and tell them what you're doing and that you'd love their advice and feedback. Next, if you can, add some mentors into your group. People with specialized knowledge that can help you on your trajectory. Just pick people to call on that can help you bring your dream into a reality. Also, as I alluded to earlier, people will just show up out of the blue, and it will seem almost like they were delivered to you. This showing up thing, or synchronicity as we call it, will happen with greater and greater frequency the more you're aligned with your true self. And your inner mind programming begins to take effect with the outer reality you're experiencing. Now let's get into resources. Define what you'll need that you don't have now to get you on the path you're going. This new Millionaire's Mind trajectory is going to take on a life of its own very quickly as you start to take positive actions. But to get kickstarted, you may need to add some things to your personal toolkit. For example, maybe there's skills you need to acquire or capital you need to raise if you plan to start a business. Perhaps you need help at home if you're raising children. Remember in Module 1, we did a personal inventory of where you were at regarding success traits. Well, this is where you'll make another list of the things you need to acquire to get you where you want to go. Let's say you have a really big vision, something beyond what you think you're capable of pulling off on your own. You want to start a high-tech company in the software development or cryptocurrency space. You've never done a startup before and you need capital and intellectual resources. And you have nothing other than a great idea on paper. What do you do with that? You put together a business plan, which is a detailed blueprint so investors can see how your idea will unfold and how they'll profit from it if they invest in your company. You'll need to learn how to do all of this, how to raise the seed capital, how to roll out your plan once you get your prototype or your proof of concept created. Is it a lot of work? Sure it is. But with a millionaire's mind conditioning into your thinking, all of those things, business plan, the capital, the people, the place, will all come together as long as you believe in your vision and you're willing to work hard for it. It's a process, and it all starts with your vision. What's next? How do you make all this happen? Well, here's how. 1, Decide who you are and what you want. To thy own self be true. Never was there a more profound way of defining yourself. Then write it on paper so it's memorialized. Writing is powerful and you need to do it. Don't just think it's locked in your memory. Sit, think, and write. 2, know your limitations and strengths. Remember your personal inventory. Know what gaps you need to fill and what skills you need to fill in. 3, make your goals. Again, commit them to writing. Adjust as you work through it. 4, commit to doing your inner mind work. Remember, the world will see you as you see yourself. Doing the Millionaire's Mind session work will change how you think. It's subtle but cumulative over time, so do it, at least for the next 90 days, and see how differently you'll see things. 5, get the resources you need to make it happen. And with your new Millionaire's Mind, this is going to be much easier to do because you've rescripted a new mind with a winning image that you're now projecting out to all you come in contact with. When you feel on top of the world, you'll operate at the top of your game, and this is your edge. It precipitates success, and as you know, success breeds success. The whole process is self-fulfilling. Well, that's really it. That's how to condition your mind to be a success at whatever undertaking you choose. Now, there's a lot here to digest, and if you're serious about success, there are a lot of details for you to fill in. I encourage you to watch this workshop again. Stop and start it. Make sure you're clear about the process. There's nothing here revolutionary other than the Millionaire's Mind neuromapping process, which is revolutionary. But other than that, it's just you taking things through the paces. And as it sinks in, the process in you will evolve. You'll see and think differently about all of this 90 days from now, I promise. But you have to do it. Just watching this once for entertainment purposes and looking for the next entertainment, it's not going to get you where you want to go or provide any lasting benefit. This is not a motivational seminar. This is a practical, step-by-step success conditioning system that will give you lifelong, lasting results if you choose to do it.
You have the power to influence and control your mind, which really does have the power within to make all your dreams come true, but only if you choose to do so. You can unleash this power and make your life what you want it to be. It's your privilege, it's your birthright. Or you could ignore all of this and cast your future to the winds of circumstance, where you'll be tossed and blown around like a leaf on a breezy fall day. It's your choice. Don't wait for the right time. Your future begins now. Your point of power is always in the present. You create tomorrows by your actions today. The circumstances of tomorrow may never be just right. So begin now. Work with the tools you have at your command. I'll help, and I'll assure you even better tools will be found as you need them. Listen, both poverty and riches are the offspring of what you think about and how you're programmed. It's up to you to choose which you'll accept. Remember how we started this workshop with the "what do you want" question? Well, what do you want?